I noticed that there is an interesting bug in our current implementation of the reduce function. I've copied it down here from above, and the issue is basically this. We rely on the fact that in JavaScript, if a function takes multiple arguments and one of them is not, if the last one is not passed in, it evaluates to undefined. Now, one first note, just a kind of note of housekeeping. I don't know why I checked for type of val equals the string undefined here. We could also just say if the value is equal to undefined. So that makes things a bit simpler, but that's not the bug. The bug is what we should really be checking is, was there no value passed in? Which is different from, is the value currently undefined? Because it may have been passed in as undefined. And if the consumer of the reduce function passes in an initial value of undefined, that may be on purpose. They may be wanting to do something with this. And they wouldn't then want to skip the evaluation of the function that we perform only if the value is not undefined. And this can even happen not only as an initial value, this can happen further down the line too. If any of the intermediate results return undefined, we then wouldn't want to skip the invocation of the function at the next iteration, which is currently what happens. So what we really need to check then is, was a value passed in? Not is it undefined, but was a value passed in? In Clojure, there is something called multi-arity functions. It's kind of a polymorphic approach to function signatures. And this would be really nice to use here. It basically means that you can declare one version of the function that takes two arguments, only f and call. And then there's another three argument version of the function. And so depending on which version you're in, you can use different code. And these different versions can invoke each other. So this would have been really useful here. Unfortunately, this feature is not available to us in JavaScript. But what we can do is we can simply pass in just any number of arguments. And then the first thing we're going to do is assign these back here. Now, this seems like we haven't really gained anything. But what this allows us to do now is we can now check how many arguments were passed in by checking args.length. The value here, val, is still going to be undefined if it wasn't passed in. So that works the same, which is great. But in case it is undefined on purpose, we can now avoid this check down here. And we can simply say, if the length of the arguments is only 2 as opposed to 3. We could make this a bit more thorough. We could say, for example, if it's less than 3 or something, and then this implies that everything here is 3. Because you could imagine adjusting the function in the future in such a way that you only take one argument and then it returns maybe something like a transducer, but we haven't gotten to that. Or maybe somebody invokes the function with only one argument. And then you have to decide, well, do you want it to blow up or do you want it to actually do something intelligible? But in any case, for now this will do. And then what we want to change is we want to change the name, because I want to keep the original reduce function so that people who are watching earlier episodes don't get confused seeing another version of reduce. We're simply going to rename it to reduce safe, say. And it's important to remember that the call to recursion here has to be renamed as well. Otherwise, you're accidentally invoking the old version of the function, and that wouldn't work well. So let's see if this works. Reduce safe. Let's say plus over 1, 2, 3. Great, so there was no initial value passed, and this works fine. And if, say, we give it a starting point, this also still works. And now we wouldn't run into any issues if at any point during the iteration over the collection, an intermediate result set undefined, and we would then skip the function evaluation for the next item in the collection. That would be unfortunate, but now it's fixed. And from now on, I recommend using reduce save as opposed to our old reduce function.